What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and I do have a new song out recently called Just Kids, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, I'm doing this on the fly, editing the video, and moving my face to the other side so that you can see the resources here and the cost on a cost of 1,000 resources per DEC metric. Now, here's the thing. I know DEC has gone down significantly, but that variable has been somewhat controlled in this sense, right? Because we're not looking at this from like a US dollar standpoint. We're looking at it from a resource versus DEC. And the main thing that I'm trying to get at is the fact that some of these resources are up 2x, maybe even more than they were just a couple of months ago. Now, I'm going to use July as the main metric here, or as the main kind of like timestamp here. You can see, you know, right after land came out, there was a lot of selling of resources, probably to fill up the pools and to just figure things out, right? The market was kind of in a little bit of a price discovery mode. Then we got this bump, right? So I'm looking here in March. Then we got this bump right before the, what's that called? Right before the launch of Conclave Arcana, in which the wagons were going to be a big deal, you know, wagon kits and all these different things, black foils, midnight potions. So there was obviously a lot of buying that happened then. And then once everything settled out, we got into July, at which point I think, you know, DEC essentially depegged. SPS did a 50% retracement, probably even more than that, back down to its, you know, the range that it's in now. And so you can see this bottom here for June, July is what I'm essentially going to use. Now, when you look at where we have gone in terms of the resource versus DEC price, you can see that grain is really starting to pick up. Wood has started to pick up. The only thing that's lagging, honestly, is stone. And we know that stone was actually holding its value quite well for a while. So I think stone is just in price discovery mode for a bit longer. But even iron, to a certain extent, is up. And so all I'm going to show you is, like, if we go here to, like, let's just say, late June, early July. I mean, we were at what, maybe 8 grain per DEC or something like that, right? You can see here 8 grain per DEC. Well, that is now up to almost 18.83. So again, that's more than a 2x. It's like 250% almost, right? Same or similar with wood, right? Wood in late June, early July was at about 22, right? 0.4 DEC per wood, or vice versa, whatever it is, right? 22.4. And now you can see that it is up to 57, right? So again, something similar there where you're kind of pushing the 250+% metric. Iron, I don't know how much. Let's see. Iron is 235. And then we're up to 407. So not quite a 2x, but still significant, right? Oh, this is the cost per 1,000 resources. Sorry, I get confused with the other one here. So my whole point with this is just to show you that I believe many of the, you know, the kind of like lull that we had, many of the resources are now in a much more mature state. They're not as much in price discovery. And that's not to say that we won't enter price discovery, we won't hit lulls, or we won't go back down. That's not my point here. But had anybody just bought these resources back in July and sat on them, right? Like literally just sat on them, you would be up more than 2x right now, which is kind of crazy to think about, because I don't think anybody was going in and just buying these resources with the intent of like them going up, right? And again, none of this is financial advice. I'm not telling anybody to go and buy resources. I'm not saying that this is a good investment. Yeah, hindsight is 2020. All I'm saying is anybody who would have gone, who would have done this back in July would be up more than 2x, probably, or, you know, more than 2.5x, depending on whatever, resource that they're holding. But as we move forward now, what we have to understand is that grain, wood, well, actually all of them, right? Grain, wood, and iron, obviously even stone, but all of the resources are going to be required and burned in significant amounts for the land card project. Now, the reason I was initially calling out grain and wood is because we know that there is a significant amount of them being burned. I think with wood, it's like over 50%. With grain, it's like 30-40%, if I remember it correctly, right? Like just in terms of like how much we are planning to burn versus how much is out there in the ecosystem. So these are already starting to go up in value. And we're about to wipe out a bunch, again, I should say potentially wipe out a bunch of the excess resources that are in the ecosystem. Now, How long will it take us to pull these in? I did a separate video. Sorry, how long will it take us to like replenish that? Again, it's going to be a couple of months, 1 to 3 months, depending on each of the resources. But at this point in time, you're seeing people start to hoard this in mass in anticipation for these land cards. And my guess is, if we're going to get these cards December 2nd, that was the date that was announced, right? I would love to give it 3 months. I would love to give the team 3 months, right? A full 3 months between now, or December 2nd when that rolls around, and we'll just say early March. So not quite all of Q1, right? Like 2/3 of Q1, January, February. To see what they can launch with land. Now, we know that the pivot is going to be back towards focusing on land 2.0, and whether that's, land 2.0 in whatever iteration that's going to be, or like a 1.8, 1.9, right? My guess is that they're going to be just putting out like little bits and pieces here and there. But if they provide more use cases for land at that point, that's a perfect time frame, right? It's a perfect time frame for us to go through, mint these land cards. The other kind of wild card in this is going to be the what's that called? The mini set, right? And if those will require, wagons for conflicts, if those will require, midnight potions or an increase in that, again, we'll be burning a lot of aura as well. I think we're burning like 1/3 of the aura that's currently out there for these land cards. So, and again, we're producing quite a bit more every single day. But my point is that if we can give the team 3 months, if we can give Cryptomancer and Matt 3 months to kind of get more releases out, more iterations, and I really do hope it's just small chunks here and there that they're able to put out, that folks like myself who have gone pretty heavy into land, I shouldn't say heavy, but just like my interest level is heavy into land, that like folks like me are going to eat it up and be like, all right, yeah, well, like what can I get, what can I do, how can I optimize my land further, how do I plan for my land, how do I buy more land, stake more DEC, all these different things. Those are the areas in which I'm hoping that the team can launch some stuff by early March, we'll call it. But overall, I have to say that it is really exciting to see the land economy responding in the way that it is. Like, this is not insignificant, and I know I'm going to do a separate video on SPS demand once again, I know, but like this is like we are starting to see some things really shift in the Splinterlands game economy. And while you're not seeing that necessarily in SPS reflected directly, you're not seeing that in DEC directly, and you're not necessarily seeing that in specific cards or card just values in general holding themselves up. There's a myriad of reasons for that. But whenever we start to see actual utility, people getting excited about stuff, and the value of resources or SPS demand or whatever it is starting to go up, that to me is something to get really excited about. So sorry, I kind of digressed from the original vision of this video, but that is my main point. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.